Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of Fuse News, coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. The UK is the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine for COVID 19. The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, or MHRA, has approved the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. This has been shown to be 95% effective in phase 3 of clinical trials and is delivered via two separate jabs taken 21 days apart. The UK government has ordered 40 million doses of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine, which is sufficient to inoculate 20 million people. 800,000 doses of the vaccine will arrive in the UK in the coming days, and those living and working in care homes, those above the age of 80, and frontline NHS staff will be prioritized. The government has also ordered 7 million and 100 million doses of the Moderna and the Oxford University AstraZeneca vaccines, respectively, which are yet to be approved. Each of these vaccines will also require 2 doses for full immunity. A mass vaccination program will begin in Russia next week. The Russian vaccine that will be used, Sputnik V, has not entered large-scale trials before it was approved, resulting in skepticism among the scientific community worldwide about the efficiency and safety of the vaccine. The vaccine is to be free for all Russian citizens, and President Vladimir Putin stated in an address on Wednesday that doctors and teachers will be the first to receive the vaccine. Mass testing at the University of Manchester is underway as students begin to return home safely for Christmas. The mass testing program for COVID-19 began on the 28th of November in preparation for students to leave starting this week. Students are highly encouraged to take 2 COVID-19 tests 3 days apart. The first batch of students left for home on Thursday, the 3rd of December, as per the student travel window set by the UK government. By law, students who test positive must self-isolate for 10 days, but can return home for Christmas after self-isolating. You can book a test and check which days you should get tested on and travel home on the university's website.
In other news, the Students' Union, the rent strike petition calling for the resignation of Manchester University's Vice Chancellor Nancy Rothwell has now got their 400 needed signatures. A tweet from the University of Manchester rent strike reads, "This means that the university must now hold a referendum of no confidence in Nancy Rothwell and other executive officers in which all of UOM students can vote." Anger and frustration has been bubbling for a while within the student community following many incidents involving Nancy Rothwell. This is observable on social media as the rent strike page has reached over 5,000 followers on Instagram and almost that on Twitter. Students were angered recently after student Zach was allegedly racially profiled and pinned against the wall by security. Rothwell claimed to have contacted him when she in fact hadn't, and has since issued an apology. A representative of the Students' Union has provided a statement on the petition. He said, "We are in contact with the students who have created the petition. We are currently verifying the signatures to ensure that they meet the criteria as set out in the Students' Union bylaws. Once we've completed that work, we'll get back in touch with those students to let them know what the next steps will be." Anurag interviewed one of the petitioners, and here's what he had to say.
Welcome to Fuse News. Around the whole University of Manchester, there is one thing which is trending nowadays is the petition for a unified referendum on Nancy's resignation. So today we have Ryan with us at Fuse News, who is the part of that student group which initiated this process of petition. So firstly, thanks Ryan for joining us at Fuse News.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So firstly, tell us that what made you all to do this or initiate this?
It was because I was sort of connected to listening in on the rent strike issues that have been happening, where the students' union were supposedly negotiating on behalf of the students, but weren't consulting. There were so many issues. And so I decided, well, I'd have a look to see why they're doing this. On what basis do they have the power to represent students? I decided to take a look into the Constitution, which, it sounds a bit weird, but it was basically luck that I found this section that said students could call a referendum if they got a petition of more than 400 signatures. So, the idea came, why don't we do a petition of no confidence to show that all the actions of Nancy have just gone too far?
Yeah, so what's the current status of it? Like, do you know when they are going to put up a referendum, and have they told you about the current status, that what's they are going further?
So at the moment, they're currently going through the signatures and verifying them, and then they're going to decide on a date. But nothing is certain for now, except it's highly likely that the referendum will be at the start of next semester, because it has to be when people are in the university, and everyone's going home this week for COVID.
Now we would like to hear from you that how's the response you got initially, and any further feedback you are receiving now also, like from different student bodies, staff, or someone.
I mean, it's been amazing, really, because we were planning to go out and contact loads of groups and try to get everyone to support us and argue our way to doing it, but all it took was just posting it a few times, and within 6 hours we'd already got the signatures required. So it was, I think it's an overwhelmingly positive response. People really do want Nancy and the university administration to be replaced.
So you have closed your petition on the after getting 400 signature, or it's still open?
It's still open, but there's not, we haven't been promoting it hugely. So it's still building up signatures. The official signature count when we submitted it was 561, but it's still rising, and people can still sign it if they want.
The full interview will be available on Fuse TV's Instagram and Facebook. Next up, adding to the craziness of the stories coming out of Fallowfield, over 80 students were trapped in a party in Unsworth Park for several hours last weekend due to what was called a malfunctioning door mechanism. Firefighters reportedly had to break down the door with a sledgehammer and axe in order to free the partygoers. One student told the Mancunian that she could see people overheating and stressed in the hallway, also saying that several girls were fainting and having panic attacks. A spokesperson of the university has responded, stating that they are regularly communicating with students to remind them of health and safety measures. In other news, the inquiry into the erection of fences around Fallowfield campus on the 5th of November was published yesterday morning. Tom Grant has more on the story.
Yes, George, the President and the Vice-Chancellor, Nancy Rothwell, has emailed students the results of the inquiry. Lack of communication with students around the erection of fences left many feeling fearful that they were being caged in response to the national lockdown. This led to a protest in which hundreds of students gathered to tear them down. The report findings highlight that the fences were put up in response to fears of safety, criminal activities, and ease of access to the campus. The report points to poor execution and communication due to rushed decision-making. It also stresses that the university wants to work alongside the student body to negotiate and find shared solutions to future issues. The report says there is a mixed recollection of any reference to fencing. It is clear no discussion took place on the approach at Fallowfield, no detail was provided, including on risks, and no action was requested or taken. Approval for fencing was not sought. The fencing project was led by the Directorate of Estates and Facilities, headed by Diana Hampson. It says the need for collaborative working is paramount during a crisis, yet colleagues felt they had not been sufficiently made aware nor given the opportunity to engage. a University of Manchester spokesperson said, "Today we published the report into the erection of fencing at the Fallowfield Halls of Residence on the 5th of November. The report recognises the significant negative impact that the erection of the fence had on our students and highlights lack of engagement with students and poor project management as the major reasons for this serious failing, for which we have apologised. We accept the inquiry's findings in full and will implement the report's recommendations urgently. Students should always be at the heart of our university, so we will work with them to find shared solutions to current and future challenges. We've already discussed the report and the issues it raises with elected student representatives in our halls of residence and our students' union offices. We are continuing with those discussions and actions. We'll also address aspects of our planning and project management. The report acknowledges that the staff involved were motivated by the best intentions to improve the safety of students in response to many complaints and serious concerns while working under pressure. However, the inquiry reported that in addition to student engagement, further authority or approval should have been sought on what was a project with major implications. We will follow this up with the relevant directorates and take appropriate actions. We will then bring together a group of staff and student representatives to focus on improving student engagement and communications in our residences, and we will urgently address the issues of project approvals, management and execution. We are grateful to our former Vice President for Teaching, Learning and Students, Professor Clive Agnew, and the former General Secretary of the Students' Union, Fatima Abid, for their detailed work on this incident. Another protest will be taking place today in Fallowfield, led by student action group SAFER. Frankie has the latest update on this story.
Thank you, Tom. Today, the student action group SAFER are holding a protest march, which will begin in Owens Park at 1:40 p.m. to prepare to start marching at 2 p.m. SAFER, which stands for Student Action for a Fair and Educated Response, are campaigning for academic, financial, physical and emotional safety during COVID-19. The protest will be taking place to demand a reduction in tuition fees, a reduction in academic pressure, and a transparent COVID action plan for Manchester students. The march is expected to travel on Oxford Road, past the University of Manchester Student Union, Manchester Metropolitan University, and finish at the Central Library. To combat potential concerns of abiding by government guidelines, the organisers of this protest have organised some volunteer safety stewards who serve the purpose of ensuring a safe and peaceful protest. The organisers have also stated that anyone joining the march today must wear a mask and observe social distancing. In an Instagram live stream on the A Safer Manchester account last night, one member said, "I literally cannot stress enough how important it is to know your rights. We will be expecting police presence, and police do not always act accordingly. But what we're doing is completely legal." Another member, Billy, stressed that the Student Action Group has police permission to carry out the protest. Fuse News heard from Billy about SAFER and the protest.
I'm Billy. I'm with SAFER, Student Action for a Fair and Educated Response, which is standing for the financial, academic, physical and emotional safety of students during COVID-19. Tomorrow at 2 p.m, we will be marching for reduced tuition fees, reduced academic pressure and a transparent COVID-19 action plan from the university. We are projected to have police presence there tomorrow. In the past, they have threatened us due to action that was attempted to take place over lockdown. However, as lockdown has finished, this protest is fully legal. There is an exemption under COVID restrictions, which says that protests can take place as long as a risk assessment has been filled out and as long as everybody is wearing masks and social distancing. We will have stewards on hand to be making sure that social distancing is happening, to be making sure that everyone's wearing masks, and they will also be handing out masks if people haven't brought them. Our priority is always student safety, and we feel that students aren't safe currently under the current pressure from COVID-19. They aren't being prioritised by the government, they aren't being prioritised by the university, and this is what this protest is for. The fact that students have been silenced, the fact that no one's standing up for us, and that this has to change if we are to continue to be safe.
Following the success of the Owens Park Tower occupation and rent strike, it is hoped that this protest will warrant further student demands being met. Anurag has the latest update on international news.
Good afternoon. I'm Anurag Sharma and you're watching Fuse News. Here are the top 5 global headlines for the week. As on Friday morning, coronavirus cases have surpassed 65 million figure around the world, and total number of fatalities been recorded till date crossed 1.5 million mark. US, India, Brazil remains the world's most affected countries with coronavirus, whereas in Europe, France, UK, Italy and Germany are observing high rise in COVID cases daily. Iran has rejected the Biden's terms for reviving the nuclear deal. US President-elect Joe Biden has said that he will rejoin the nuclear deal and lift sanctions if Tehran returns to strict compliance with the nuclear deal. But as response, Iran's foreign minister said that Iran will not accept preconditions from a new Biden administration and the US must return to a 2015 deal before talks can take place. Both sides appear to want the other to readopt the agreement's terms first. In India, against the newly passed farmer bill, thousands of farmers from across the India travelled to national capital Delhi with an aim to protest in front of Indian Parliament. But the Delhi police and central government has sealed all the borders of Delhi and denied entry to farmers. Also, security forces have acted violently by firing tear gas shells and water cannons on farmers. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made comments this week that Canada will always be there to defend the right of peaceful protest. In response to it, India denounced it as Trudeau's ill-informed remarks. In African country, Namibia, a politician named after Adolf Hitler wins the local election of councillor. In one interview, he insisted that he had nothing to do with Nazi ideology. Adolf Hitler Unona got elected for the ruling SWAPO party, which led the campaign against colonial and white minority rule. And in space missions, China has achieved another milestone. China has executed next stage of its Chang'e 5 mission, under which the ascent vehicle lit its engine to head up to a service module that will shepherd home the rock and the dust materials. It's been more than 40 years since lunar samples were last brought back to Earth. The last lunar sample return mission was in 1976. That's all for international news. Now my colleague will take you for more stories.
Thanks, Anurag. And finally today, several University of Manchester Sports Club have raised £4,171 between them for Movember this month. Movember is an annual event involving the growing of moustaches during the month of November to raise awareness of men's health issues. By encouraging men to get involved, Movember aims to increase early cancer detection, diagnosis and effective treatments, and ultimately reduce the number of preventable deaths. Besides annual checkups, the Movember Foundation encourages men to be aware of family history of cancer and to adopt a healthier lifestyle. Using the moustache as the driving symbol of the movement, Movember focuses on the three key areas of prostate, testicular cancer, and mental health and suicide prevention. Since inception, the Movember Foundation has raised $837 million and funded over 1,200 projects in more than 20 countries. We at Fuse TV understand that it has been an extremely difficult year for everyone, so it's crucial now and more than ever that we raise awareness and take time to focus on our mental and physical health. That's all from us this Friday on Fuse News from the University of Manchester. Tune in again next week for our weekly update.